Luis Sera was born and raised in the mountains of Spain early in his life, after moving out to try to start a career as a biologist. When returning to the village years later, it was now taken over by the Los Illuminados. Osmond Sadler was well into recruiting for his cult. Luis ended up leading the genetic modification of the plagas and was working on it on the island facility. During this process of extensive research led him to discover that there are various mutation effects, leading to things like El Gigante or the Regenerator, for example. Luis was not willing to continue to help Sadler with further research. He was planning on escaping himself. He tried to contact an old friend that he met at the university. Ada Wong became his contact when she discovered his emails. When Luis escaped the island, he stole a test tube that contained the egg of the dominant subspecies, which in return gave to Ada. Luis is eventually captured by Bitteros Mendez while trying to escape the village and ends up in the cabinet that Leon finds him in earlier in the game. The only reason why he wasn't executed upon capture was because Sadler needed to find the test tube of the sample. I'm sure Luis in the remake will be a similar character just like before, but this time we might either have more segments with him helping, or he might just be more involved entirely. His design looks very well done from the backshot we get in the trailer, and we know that he wields the trusty Red 9 again. I'm sure he will still crack some jokes and have his slice of humor here. Luis plays a pivotal role in helping Leon and Ashley survive the parasites that were both injected in them as they were both captured. Luis unfortunately dies in the castle by Sadler, which in my opinion is an iconic death that they should keep. At this moment, he gives Leon pills to suppress the growth of the parasite within as Leon finishes his mission. There are so many files that go into Luis and his research that we find throughout the original game, and some of the files that he gives you are also upon his death. And I of course want the files to return in this game along with the research files from Luis. That would be really cool to fill in some of that lore and to keep it similar to the original game. Something I always thought was cool about Leon and Luis in their first conversation is when he finds out that Leon was a cop in Raccoon City the day everything went down, and he mentions that himself that he used to be a cop in Madrid for some time. And he mentions he remembers seeing a sample of the T-virus at the police department, which was always interesting to me. We wonder as fans if they will keep little details like this to keep the characters interesting. Hope we see more of Luis sometime soon in more reveals. What are your thoughts on Luis in the Resident Evil 4 remake? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe as the road to Resident Evil 4 remake continues. A big shout out to everyone that supports me on Patreon and YouTube memberships. YouTube members grants you access to voting on content with custom badges and emojis for chats. Patreon gives you the same voting privilege, but even more. Gain access to uncut recording sessions, weekly exclusive Patreon shows, and live hangouts on Patreon. Tiers start at just $1. Thank you so much for your support, and I will catch you next time.